Good afternoon. So glad to see you. Welcome, everybody. My name is Saba Imru. I'm an executive leadership coach, and I'm an ICF member. It's Sabine McCarthy's presentation, and I'm so happy to be welcoming her. Sabine is an experienced HR professional and a certified professional coach. She is credentialed by ICF. She has a lot of experience in coaching. She will give you an incredible presentation on a topic which concerns every single one of us, and that's how to manage our inner saboteur. And and she has some really good tips on how to manage it. But before the tips, she'll actually get us to understand what this phenomenon is all about. Sabina, I leave you the floor to perhaps introduce yourself a bit better than I have, and to do your wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saba, for this introduction. And I'm really, really glad to be part of this International Coaching Week webinar as part of the international organizations, as you have just said. So let me just share my screen and start with this topic that I'm really, really passionate about. It's coming from a tool called Positive Intelligence. And as Saba just mentioned, it's about the saboteurs, the inner voices that we have and how to overcome them. It's a great tool for coaches. But before I go there and talk more into details, I would like to just spend a few moments about who am I and link it. So in general, my presentation today, I would love to just make sure that I have the link of coaching with this tool, the Positive Intelligence tool, and the saboteurs, and how you, as maybe a coach yourself, or as maybe a possible client, as someone who is struggling with that, how these are connected with each other. So really trying to make it as practical as possible. I'm not spending too much details. I really would like to just spend 30 minutes and then open up for Q&As at the end. In general, you can actually also put things in the chat, but if you have a question that you would like me to answer at the end of the session, just put them in the section of Zoom that is in Q&A, and we'll come back to this later. And Saba is also committed to be in the background, so if there's anything that is relevant throughout the presentation to be brought up, then she'll stop me and put that forward. So yes. This is me as a next slide. I'm Austrian. I'm based in Geneva since many, many years. I'm a leadership coach and performance facilitator. And I have been leading in different international organizations, talent and performance management. I am ICF Associate Certified Coach since 2016. And what I wanted to share with you, because I thought it would be really important, is to already talk about the saboteurs. Is why is it that I have chosen this tool, and why do I think that this is really relevant? So let me talk about these three top saboteurs, and I'll show you a bit later more about it. But I thought it would be useful for you to already see. In my research about tools for coaching, for helping my clients to go deeper, I recognize that very often, especially as an international organization, people are lacking some kind of confidence, and they are really seeing no opportunities but more threats, and in the interactions with other people, it's really complicated. So this environment is a complicated environment, but it also needs some tools to help people to word where they are, how they feel, and maybe where this is coming from. And that's where the saboteurs are really, really useful. So I wanted to share with you my top 3 saboteurs. The first one is the pleaser, so when you are falling into the saboteur mode, and I am falling into my saboteur mode, in the pleaser one, I want everyone to like me. And I'm going beyond my own needs constantly. And I'm not very likely to push back when people ask for more. And I could also go in the other direction. I might intrude too much and try and help everyone and do everything for everyone. so that which takes then away the accountability. And me being an HR professional, this is a very dangerous saboteur, because it can lead to being overwhelmed or even burnout. It can lead to people not taking their own actions, but me doing everything for them. And that is not a very good approach. Same as when I am falling into the mode of the stickler, which will make me focus on perfection. So basically today I was re-looking at our slides, and I was trying to make it perfect, and I was trying to get myself out of it, because the stickler then makes me feel like as if it's not good enough. Sometimes it also, and you can talk with my colleagues about this, or with my family, they will laugh about it, how I'm sometimes make people feel that it's not good enough, it's not perfect enough. So this is the stickler that could creep up when I start to be stressed or upset about something. And same as the controller. The controller wants me to take, control of everything around me, which is literally impossible. But my brain is telling me, come on, you need to control, you need to make sure that everyone is doing it the right way. So these are the three top saboteurs that affect me. And every one of us has these saboteurs in one or the other way, more or less, dependent a bit on where they are in the situation. So in order to start, what I do very often with all my coachings, and also even sometimes in meetings, is to be able to center yourself. That's a key skill that we have to learn. And it's used in a lot of environments already, but I wanted to share one with you for you to come back to anytime. It's the centering yourself through breathing. This will help me, and maybe also you. Unfortunately, this is not an after work event where you have a drink, where you maybe relax, but actually we can use this to relax a little bit more, to center yourself through breathing. So I would like, if I may, encourage you to just take a comfortable position, standing or sitting, definitely both feet on the ground, and just use this so-called box breathing for a moment, where you focus on the dot, which I will share with you bigger in a moment. And it's called box breathing because you basically breathe in for 4 counts, then hold, breathe out for 4 counts, and then hold. And you continue doing this. And I would like to use some of our precious time, namely 2 minutes, which is about 7 cycles of this breathing exercise, to just help ourselves to slow down for a moment and activate the positive part of our brains. So you're ready? Just stand or sit, relax, put your both feet on the floor. And then we will focus on the dot in front of you. This is very practical because it counts for you, and we are doing this together. After the hold, you start breathing in. 4, 3. Hold. Breathing out. Hold. Breathing in. Just focus on the breathing. Let other thoughts go. Hold. Breathing out. Hold. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Hold. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Hold. And one last time. Breathing in. Hold. Breathing out. Thank you so much. If you have closed your eyes, please start opening them up again. And it would be great to hear or read a bit about how you feel right now after having done this 2-minute exercise. Just put that in the chat so we can see that. I can just talk a bit about it, how others perceived it. Normally, people start feeling more relaxed. Sometimes you feel more focused. Sometimes you feel tired. So there's all kinds of emotions that come up after doing just 2 minutes, but it really is helpful to be centered. And while I continue, please feel free in really sharing in the chat how this exercise made you feel, because it's very valuable, and you'll see later that a lot of the concepts of the saboteurs and how to overcome them are related to exercises like this as well. Okay. So thank you so much. So I see some relaxed and focus already from Saba. Clear-headed, absolutely. Very good. Thank you so much for already sharing this. So where is this actually coming from? This is a tool or kind of like a system, if you wish, called positive intelligence, which is based on Shirzad Shamin's concept and research done in the context of coaching and cognitive behavioral psychology, so positive psychology, neuroscience. So it's a very much brain-based in their research. And they have found that there are mainly 3 topics that are relevant for us to be in the positive mindset. So the first one is the saboteur interceptor. So how can you intercept the saboteur? The second one is the self-command, which we have just been doing a bit. And the third one is moving into the sage. It is really about merging different theories, and Shirzad Shamin is saying that there is some kind of percentage you need to get to, they call positive intelligence quotient, where you say, and we say, that people are, in a percentage of time, your mind acts as your friend rather than as your enemy. So these 3 muscles, and they're a bit like something you can train in your brain, are very, very important to focus on, be aware of and focus on, and you can train them at least for a few weeks in order to for your brain to make new connections. So they are calling it a bit like going to the gym. And this is something that I wanted you to be aware of, that it's really focused on repetition and continuing working on this in order to have a long-lasting impact. But I am also working and using these concepts with my coachees and my teams when we are talking about their issues, talking about their goals, talking about how to overcome hurdles. All these 3 concepts are always coming up. So where is this coming from? So in the next 20 minutes, I will share with you a bit more details on all of these 3 concepts. And when we start, if we start with the saboteur, then we can see the master saboteur is called the judge. So the judge is the universal saboteur that afflicts everyone. We all have them. It's the one that beats you up in the night over mistakes, over shortcomings, that warns you about any risks that are coming towards you. They think of what is wrong with me, what is wrong with others. So that's the master saboteur, if you wish, that everyone has. And it's some kind of like internal enemy you have to fight. And it is actually very clever because it has a lot of good reasons for it to be there and to push you forward. That's how they claim it to do. And the judge has some helpers, and these helpers are called the saboteurs. And they're activated in different levels, and for everyone it's a bit different. But these are the key support helpers of the judge to keep you in that mindset that what is wrong with me, what is wrong with the others, what is wrong with this situation. So it's really also not only about your thoughts, but it's also about your feelings. So it goes on to the level of feeling guilt, regret, shame, disappointment, any anger, anxiety. It all comes actually from this assessment that something is wrong, it's not right. And it has, of course, had an original survival function. By noticing and exaggerating of what is wrong in our environment, we could survive. And basically, it's also something that is developed when you're a child. But when you're an adult, you are not going to be attacked by any lion. And it really is important for us to be aware that we are in a mode that is outdated and not applicable and not bringing out the best in you. So, let me just tell you a bit more about the saboteurs. What are they? So I already mentioned a few that are related to me. So I mentioned the pleaser, I mentioned the stickler, and I mentioned the controller. And very often these saboteurs are actually starting off as our guardians to help us survive the real and also imagined threats to our physical and emotional survival as children. But as I said, by the time we are adults, we no longer need them. But they have really come and being ingrained in our brains as invisible inhabitants and patterns of thinking and feeling and reacting. And so they're really in there, basically managing your reactions, and you're getting hijacked by them, which is really sad and leads to bad experience, as I said, emotion-wise, and also in interactions with others. And when you are, you know, trying to achieve certain things. So in the concept of positive intelligence and in the research that has been done, there have been identified 9 saboteurs that are universal applicable, and we're giving them names so it's easier to identify them. But obviously they're also interacting with each other, they're supporting each other, and there's also a few overlaps between them here and there. So it's not like the perfect thing. And also something that I would like to mention to you that is important to be aware is very often it comes from an overuse of a strength that you might have. So the pleaser is actually an overuse of my, in this case, when I use it, of my ability of empathy. I'm a very empathetic person, which is a great, great asset. To understand how other people feel, where they are and where they want to go. But if I overuse it, it becomes a hurdle. Same, for example, the hyper-rational. To be rational is good, but to be hyper-rational, only seeing everything from a rational perspective with ignoring all the emotions, at that point, then it leads you to a negative reaction for yourself and for others. Same for the stickler. The stickler is normally a person who is very organized and thinks things through. But when they're overused, then it really goes to a level where it makes myself or others in this case feel not good enough in what they're doing. It's never good enough. So if possible, I would like to just go into more details into one or two of these saboteurs. And if we have an opportunity to maybe just mention the ones that you feel that are triggering you most often. And now I'm not going to go into all the definitions. It's not about definitions. Just go and out of your gut feeling. If you read through the descriptions, if you look at the picture, what is it when you are stressed? What is it when you are maybe angry? What is it when you are tired that happens to you? The reactions that make you feel not so good or make you feel that this actually needs to happen, but basically increases your anxiety. Which of these 9 do you feel are the ones that are really triggering? And I'm not going to mention any names, so don't worry, but it would be just good to get a bit of a feeling of which ones are the ones that are most relevant in this group. So I just go a bit more into details. Let me have a look if I can see the chat.
Shall I open would you like me to open the poll?
Sure. Is everyone, the poll would be actually even more, let's try that, Saba. So I have one comment already, the avoider. Thank you so much for sharing. So here we were going to do 2 polls because not all of the 9. Thank you so very much. I see already first answers coming in. Let's have a look. What do you think? Out of a gut feeling, which of these 6, and later there will be the other 3 displayed. Any out of the 6 you can see here right now of the controller, stickler, avoider, hyperachiever, pleaser, which ones are your main reactions? Which one hijacks you? And it's really a hijack. So it's as I mentioned, ingrained in your brain as the one reaction to survive threat. So I can see avoider and pleaser at the moment. Avoider is leading. Saba, do you want to open up as well the other?
So they're there. You just have to scroll down.
Okay. Excuse me, I didn't see.
There. Yeah. You have to scroll down, and so we have 6 out of 9 participants. If I'll wait a few seconds for the other 3 people to enter their data if they want, and if they don't, that's okay. I'll end the poll. And we have 1 person that already put it in the chat. That's James.
Okay.
And
very good.
Okay, then I'll end the poll, and let's see what the results are. And I'll share the results.
Okay. So I can see avoider, hypervigilant. Are the top ones. Very good. It's actually going in this.
The avoider is the most. We have 3 people that answered avoider, 2 people that answered for pleaser, 1 person who answered for restless, 2 people that answered for hypervigilant, and 1 for hyper-rational. So there's a wide variety.
Yeah. No, that's great. And that's what actually is happening. We all have them all in 1 or more, and it's great to just have a look at which one's triggering you the most from your perspective. So let me then just talk a bit more about the avoider, which is an interesting one in the sense of
sorry, stop sharing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Oops, sorry. Now I went 1 more. Excuse me. So the avoider is the one that is trying to escape uncomfortable situations, trying to escape and noticing when something is not right, they label it so they don't have to deal with it. They are normally really, focused on the things that are pleasant and positive. They have and when you're in the avoider mode, it is very difficult to say no and to resist others. And they definitely, in that situation, when you're stressed or angry, you try and comfort yourself with routines, and you fall into procrastinations. It's very often also connected with suppressing some anger and resentments rather than expressing these emotions, and the conflicts are denied. So which then also leads sometimes to a situation where others don't really trust someone who is in the avoider mode, because it can be very superficial and conflict avoidance, so you're not taking the other one into consideration. So that's all a bit about the avoider mode, the saboteur mode when you fall into the avoider. And the hypervigilant is also interesting in the sense of really looking around, seeing where could there be a danger, where could there be something wrong, there must be something wrong, there's some danger somewhere. And you're really trying to get attention about anything that you feel could go wrong in order to just survive. You know, I mean, basically, when you come from the strength of the hypervigilant, it would be great to be in auditing or any kind of office inspector general, any of these roles when you are in a sage mode of being very focused on what the risks are, risk assessment. But if it's overused, you stress yourself and you stress others about any risk that comes and is around you. So I would like to just mention to you that you can take a test free of charge as part of the Positive Intelligence webpage. And this is something you can take away for you or also for others in your environment. It's great to see what is the outcome, and it comes directly to your own email address that you register with. So the saboteur assessment gives you then a result like this. And Saba was so kind to share in the chat what's the link to it. So it's really super easy. And it doesn't take long. It takes about 15 minutes to do this assessment. And I'm using this very much as a starting point with a lot of my coachings, or when I realize that people are very much in a saboteur mode, for them to help to express where they are and how they feel and to understand how it would come up. So it's so important as a first step to counteract your saboteurs is to know about them, to know the signs of how they feel, what the thoughts they have, how they, what the arguments are that make you feel like staying into this saboteur mode. And that's what the saboteur assessment can help you with, to go a bit more into details than what we can do today. So what kind of coaching applications, as I mentioned earlier already, am I using the saboteurs from? I use it as a discovery session with my coaching clients, which means people understand a bit more where they come from, and we can refer to it later. It's also giving us a common language. It's fun. It's not just, a drag. It's actually, you start feeling, okay, this is where it's coming from. You start empowering yourself and the client, if you wish, with realizing in which situation you are and knowing that you can get out of this. So it's not just working unconsciously, but it's actually really helping you to be more conscious about and then overcome it. This can be done for individuals and teams, for both. And here's an example of when I was working with someone, an individual, a manager, who had the hyperachiever as a saboteur. And he was very much talking about the issue of feeling exhausted and not supported by his team. And by going through and working through the saboteur assessment and through the hyperachiever, which was one of his top saboteurs, he had an aha moment, and he realized that he was pushing himself and others to outperform constantly, and there was really no more connection with what actually purpose was for himself, for the others. No one really understood. It was really just to outperform others, to be the best, to be shining nonstop. And also one thing that he realized is that the emotional part of being connected with others was no value for him at first. And he felt like it could even stop him from achieving results. And that was demystified as a limiting belief for him. So he dismantled this limiting belief and took some small steps to just overcome it. It's coaching very often is not about big steps that you completely revamp your life, but it's really the small steps to just experience as well of how it actually could feel when you're not in the saboteur mode and when you're getting a bit out of your comfort zone. So in this case, he was really taking some time to talk to people, to smile at colleagues when he was passing in the hallway. It's simple, but it had a big impact, and he could really see how his relationships changed and how actually he felt that this limiting belief that having closer relationships to colleagues that are in a connecting way, that this would be stopping him or them from time to achieve better results. I was coaching a team as well, and like I did with you right now, is I asked the team in one of the sessions to place the team, not them as an individual, but the team as a common space in which saboteur mode they would fall into most likely. And this was very interesting because they came up with the avoider, the stickler, and the pleaser. So these three, and that's a really, really explosive mix. As the avoider saboteur is really pushed all the time by the stickler saboteur. So you can see they're actually adding onto each other. So the stickler wants everything perfect, and the avoider is just trying to figure out how to escape from this uncomfortable situation. And then also the tendencies of the pleaser, who doesn't, for the clients, for their own clients. So in this case, it was with countries. They never say no. They want to make sure everyone has everything. So the workload gets bigger and bigger, and the stickler feels like nothing is really happening well. So it was really an aha moment for the team to see that there are some dynamics going on, and we could actually use some wanted poster all together to discuss together about what insights they take from the saboteur mode. What are the characteristics? What is the impact of each other, of the saboteurs on each other? And then also the ideas on how to name them, how to dismantle them, how to, give each other a bit of a notch when you see that you're falling into this trap. So it's and to reflect frequently actually when they do their projects about, are we actually in a mode where we see threats, where we see things are not good enough, and is this out of a strength, or is this out of a fear and of a judge that things are not done well, or that situations are not good, or that others are not doing a good enough job? Okay, so these are the two examples I wanted to share with you, just to give you a bit of a sense of how the saboteurs can be used during a session with an individual, but also with the teams. So the next question for me, when we talk about the saboteurs, what do you think? Is pain good for you? Is it good when you put your hand on the stove to feel pain? Actually, it is okay. It's good. The problem, though, is that the saboteur claims that you need to keep your hand there to be aware of the problem that is going on here. So it's on constantly keeping your hand on the stove, to badgering you about any mistakes you did or other did, or shortcomings that were caused to you, and things that need to be improved and achieved. So it's really, really not useful, because basically pain at the beginning is good to alert you, and it's good to do something about the situation that you're in. But if you get stuck in this negative emotion that something is wrong, and it's wrong for the others, it's wrong for you, and you need to control it, or you need to avoid it, or you need to please others to keep on making sure that nothing goes wrong. So then that's the moment where you need to be able to say, hey, one moment, this is not good anymore to keep the hand on the hot stove for that long. Also because when you are in that mode, you get really tunnel visioned and you're not able to find the best solutions to the problems, which basically only the positive part of your brain can do, where you're open and focused. So how can you now go from the saboteur mode into the so-called sage mode, which I include in a moment more? This is really done through different options, but it's basically mindfulness. And many of you already do this, and some of you already do sports, and some of you, so it's different ways of being just in a moment and relaxing. Some of you listen to music, some of you maybe, go for a walk with your pet or stroke the cat or whatever it is. So there are different options. In a positive intelligence program, they're actually saying you don't need to do anything for very long. It's really just frequently for a couple of minutes to focus with your different senses. And with that you can move onwards to the positive part and be more focused. So let us try this for a moment. I wanted to share with you this picture, and I would like to invite you again to put yourself in a comfortable position, sitting or standing, definitely relaxing your arms, putting your both feet flat on the ground, and have a deep breath. Before you really just focus on the picture that I'm sharing in front of you. Focus on all the different colors of the trees. Which colors can you see? Focus on the different shapes you can see. Just look around and notice the shady and the sunny parts of this picture. And now just focus on the path in front of you, and in your mind with your eyes, walk along the path and notice what you can see. Okay, thank you so much for joining me for this little exercise. Again, you can do it different ways. This is a visual, and I just would love to hear or read again in the chat of how you feel now. What is it that just a couple of minutes and focusing on colors, shapes, and whatever you see in this beautiful picture, how did that make you feel? And everything is okay. It does not always have to be positive. So just feel free in sharing. So I can see relaxed and calm, okay. Inspired, yes. Thank you so much for sharing this. And while maybe a few more want to answer in the meanwhile, I just wanted to share with you that this is exactly what we are calling self-command. Is like going out of this zone of stress and anger, but really calming yourself down to a place where you go from the saboteur mode into the sage mode. Self-command, everyone has it in a bit different way. We are definitely also, as I said, during coaching, I use it quite a lot at the beginning of a session, sometimes even in between. Sometimes I coach outside of my office, but really go and walk. So physical movement helps to be back and be focused. Fresh air, anything like this. People, some of my coaches, they use different methods like washing your hands a little bit longer and really sensing all the water and the temperature and how it feels. Some people very consciously drink tea. So it really has different methods that you can use. And basic point is to go from saboteur mode into sage mode. So the saboteur, as I mentioned, is motivating you through negative emotions like fear, stress, anger, guilt. So moving away from that into the sage mode using the mindfulness moment can help you to bring you into another positive emotion and motivation like empathy, curiosity, creativity, passion, and purpose. So it really is important for you to be aware when you are in the saboteur mode and then move into the sage mode. And then we all have this sage mode, this amazing empathy or curiosity or passion for something. Just get it out and unbury it from which is within you. And that's exactly what we do also in coaching. It's empowering people to get back to their best and to understand of what they can do to be navigating in the right direction by having some meaningful and purposeful ideas of what is relevant in their life. And so on. So I want to really just say again, the idea of moving from saboteur to sage is not to then be calm and relax and everything is okay. No, it's really also to get you back being focused and activated. Okay. So the sage perspective is basically something that says every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. And that's a mindset shift, absolutely, and not easy to reach because it really says everything can be a gift or an opportunity for you. If you think of different applications, for example, and in coaching, we use empathy, a tool that's called the child of your inner self. So to really come back of who you are and with having more empathy for yourself, so that empathy is one of the sage perspectives, is being empathetic to you as a child can help you as well being creating this empathy for others. When you explore, you can use a tool, it's called Curious Anthropologist, is to really coming back to the basic human need of learning. So metaphors, for example, are very useful when you explore with a coach, with a coachee, with a client. Innovation, you can use a lot of tools to help people come back and bring that further out if they need it, is a tool called Yes and. So moving away from the but and really going into the yes and mode. And that's something actually really fun to do also as a team. So let me just, one other topic that we use very often is the Navigate Sage Power with coachees, where we do a flash forward and ask them to have a visualization of the future self. Super powerful. And again, this is really just to activate a sage mode that people need at that moment to move forward with the topic of the coaching. So coming then really back to the coaching applications, I'm aware of time, so let me just move a bit faster. What I did, for example, for a team is to build more empathy for self and for others. I asked them for the next team meeting that and coaching we were having, is to bring an object and share how it represents one of their strengths with the others. So this is really getting to know each other a bit more, also coming back to your own strengths, and an object is something that is relevant to you. I was using for teams very often this innovate, exercise together, where we're all in a circle and it is about creating ideas, and each one of them, one after another, says what I like about your idea. And so it's great opportunity for them to listen to the other, really, because you have to listen in order to pick out what you like about the idea, and then you build on it. And it's fun, and it's meant to not be judged. And so it brings out all these positive parts for teams to focus on. I definitely use the PQ reps a lot with, the mindfulness moments with teams and also with individuals. So I can recommend that. And one other topic that I really enjoy and I think is amazing for people when they need it, you use it as a coach when they need it, to have this future self visualization. You can also do that as a team. That's very powerful. Okay, so these are a few examples of how I use the SAGE mode in the coaching. And I wanted to share with you some more typical coaching questions that are related to the different concepts. So for the saboteur is, what impact are your saboteurs having on your life, on your relationships, on your ability to be happy? And Saba, if you could maybe put that also even in the chat, that would be great, because it's something that you can use even later for use for yourself to think about. Self-command, what resources can you access to help you link with your strengths? Can be anything. I gave you a few examples, but everyone is individually different, what they need and what really is a resource. When can you start using these resources? Very important in coaching, always moving forward and having an idea of when you apply new things. And with the SAGE, what would your life look like if you strengthened your SAGE, any of your strength? What would that feel like? Coaching is very often also about feelings, okay, not only thoughts. So this is mainly all the concepts that I wanted to share with you. Didn't go into details too much because I think it's really powerful to discuss with you or see any questions you might still have. Again, if you go to the webpage of Positive Intelligence, there's a lot of things explained there as well. But let's hopefully now look together if I can answer most of your questions. Just as a reminder, what we did today is we were looking at the saboteurs and how to intercept them. We were looking at the self-command, and we were looking at the different SAGE modes, navigate, empathy, innovate, things like this, to be in a positive part of how you react to different situations. So yeah, please feel free in asking any questions. Okay. So this is a question about, your self-command. The question was, why is it important to put feet on the floor? With any kind of mindfulness moment, it's good to be grounded. So you will see that actually your brain reacts differently when you're grounded. And lying down sometimes helps you as well. So that's an option, but the risk that you fall asleep, especially after work, is high. So being relaxed, put your feet on the floor and also your hands. There is a self-command, that I use quite a lot, because it's really not meant to be something that is only done when you close yourself into a room for half an hour and do I don't know, sports or meditation. It's meant to be for you to be and able to do it at any time. So one topic that I do sometimes is walking, as I mentioned. So you walk, but you walk mindfully. You sense everything that happens to your feet while you walk, to your muscles in your legs and to your arms, and then you notice your breathing. So it's basically, it's about being grounded and coming back to the moment for you to move out of the zone of the saboteurs. I'm just reading that I found my saboteur 2 years past, and I found I'm being highly consciously aware in order to block the saboteur from entering the moments. My SAGE is a learner, and I'm constantly learning now. Thank you for this session. It's been insightful. So, and this is something I wanted to also, I mentioned at the very beginning, but I wanted to stress, this is a muscle, and you have to continue practicing it. And there are moments where it's easier, and there are moments where it's harder. And the idea is to not judging yourself about when you suddenly are not so easy about and being so easily in your SAGE mode, because sometimes there's situations in life where you need actually more muscles in order to really recover quicker. So it's completely normal, but it's so great. And the first step is always just being aware of it, being aware that you're stretched right now and that you will need a bit more of self-command muscle in order to get out of your stickler mode, or in my case, my pleaser mode, or controller mode.
There's another question, which is inner critics. How does he or she relate to saboteurs and the way to sage mode?
Yeah. So the inner critic, the saboteurs, is just giving it a frame to your inner critic. The inner critic, if you wish, is very often the judge, the overarching, saboteur of things, that what you haven't done good enough, how you look, how you interact with others, how, your career is, how your family is, how never anything is enough. So I'm exaggerating, but I mean, these are the inner critics that come up, and they have different versions for everyone. And that's actually what I would describe as the saboteurs. They get the different angles from criticizing yourself or others, and therefore it just gives it a good way of talking about your inner critic. The inner critic of a victim would be different than the inner critic of a hyperachiever. The victim would say, "Oh, they didn't. They're trying to avoid me. They're trying to put me aside. Again, this was bad. Maybe I didn't do it good enough, but it's unfair. Everything is unfair, whilst the hyperachiever would say, no one is interested in achieving anything, and I've done everything, but I can't do more. So it's really this kind of inner critic voices, and the saboteur concept gives it a name and related. And if you go into the details, you will see it really gives you also a way of exactly seeing what's the sentence, what's the thoughts, and how you will feel. But basically, so what's the thoughts? No one is doing it good enough. And then you can catch yourself very quickly of this inner critic, or in this saboteur mode you're in. And I would say really also have fun with it. That's what I said, make everyone in your family do the assessment. I think kids from 12 onwards can do it already. And then it's it's easier to laugh about it. And with laughing about, oh my God, I'm really getting into the stickler mode today. You get over it. It's fantastic. And the same you can do with your colleagues. And one topic I also wanted to mention that came up is, and that you will see if you're interested to look into the other webinars that Saba and the team has organized in the past and also in the future. There's a lot of overlaps there. So because it really is about, for example, a mindset shift, which you, Saba, has actually explained a lot in the first session, but also will do again on Friday. And also even Katie Klein, who was talking about creating a coaching culture. It is really about this, not only individually, but even as a team and as an organization, you can shift your mindset to something that will help people to come out as the best, and create great things together. There's also more webinars to come, which are amazing, and I definitely want to recommend you to go, step into your power and purpose, where Teresa will present. And it's all about the subconscious mind, and in this case, I would call it the saboteurs, who influences you and how to get over it. And of course, there is this great presentation. Go on Friday to IRU, to the event at the Road Transport Union. Dana Walden-Will and Manuela Morelli will talk a lot about resilience. And the saboteur, interceptor, self-command, and sage is also a way of being resilient. Is you're taking charge of how you approach the world, and you'll see some concepts there that are amazing and that will resonate even with what I have been sharing today.
Thank you, Sabine. This is really, we're very thrilled that you're here, and we really thank you. This is, we're a nonprofit, so this isn't a business. Everyone is volunteering their time and their heart with everything that they want to share. Sabine has done a really great job. Sabine, then I will give you the last word to conclude your marvelous webinar. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Please, Sabine.
Go and have fun with the saboteurs and overcome them and just knock it down and be the best of yourself. And coaching is a good option for you to do that quicker.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you all, and see you soon.
Have a nice evening, everyone.